Brian. And this is where MAGA comes to talk. So, what's going on here with Pete Hegseth in the Atlantic? First of all, there's a big question that no one is asking. I watched all the coverage today of this entire story, which we have very little information. The news media are copying and pasting, otherwise known as plagiarizing, every other news story out there. So if you've read one story, you've read them all. And Pete Hegseth did comment on this yesterday. So the Atlantic, which is a left-wing reporter, is claiming that Pete Hegseth, the vice president, and others brought him into a private chat that was supposed to be highly top secret, classified, to talk about war plans. Now there's a couple questions that no one in the media has even bothered to get to. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, all right? If you're already subbed, please like the video. So, one of the questions that no one is asking, when they went into the chat to add people, okay, why was this Atlantic reporter even in the available list of people to add? Has anybody asked that? Why was he even in the available list of people to add? That's one. But here's another one. There's is Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration. There's a couple of questions. Now, this is one possibility too. Are they running a counterintelligence op, Pete Hegseth, JD, and the rest? And what I mean by that is there's obviously a ton of leaks inside the government that are trying to undermine everything President Trump is doing. So is it possible that this was done on purpose by Pete Hegseth and the vice president as a way to smoke out some of the leakers and spies within? Is that a possibility? What would you think? What about, and there's also another possibility that the deep state, in an effort to undermine the Trump administration, are behind this whole thing. And I'm sure there's some other possibilities as well. But the story is most definitely not being properly reported. There's much more to this. And, you know, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, these are the smartest people that have ever been in a presidential cabinet. You know, that cabinet meeting yesterday, excuse me, guys, I just cleaned my cat's litter, and I'm having kind of an allergic reaction. One of my cats has started a terrible new habit of when they pee, not burying it in the litter box. So I get that all that cat urine in my sinuses and everything, and I'm like having a major allergic reaction to it. So my apologies. I don't know how to break them of that. And I don't know which ones. I know it's one of the kittens. I just don't know which one. But there's much more to this than meets the eye. And I have no doubt in my mind that this is just an effort. Whoever was behind this chat discussion Atlantic reporter, there's most definitely a plot to try to hurt the Trump administration, who's doing so much great work. You got to understand, this, if you watch that cabinet meeting yesterday, which I broke down in detail on my podcast last night, they're changing the world. They are absolutely changing the world. We have never had such a competent cabinet ever. And for people that are so good, so smart, so brilliant, to just let some hardcore, never-Trumper, liberal reporter into a chat, I just don't believe that that's something that just happened by accident. There's something bigger in play here. Whether it's Pete Hegseth running a counterintelligence op to root out spies within, leakers within, them being set up by the deep state to undermine them, I just don't believe that this is incompetence on the part of the Trump administration. There's just no way. There's just no way. They're deporting the Hamas students that are being deported. They work for Iran. This whole conversation was about the Houthi, which are the Iranians. They're Iranian-backed. So this very well could be an Iranian intelligence operation as well against Pete Hegseth and JD. Believe me. There's much more in play here than we know. But we do know this. None of this is the fault of the Trump administration. Unless they did it on purpose for a counterintelligence op. So let me know in the chat what you think. Obviously, that's going to be the lead story when I open up at 6 a.m. I'm heading to the radio station today, if you're wondering. It takes me about an hour to get there in the morning. That's why I use my home studio as much as I can. Someone said blind loyalty. What about blind disloyalty? They talk about those of us who support President Trump have blind loyalty, which is absurd. But I would say that the never-Trumpers, the left, the media, they have blind disloyalty. In fact, in that chat conversation, there was nothing classified discussed, and there was even a reference that they might go to the classified chat to continue the discussion because they're going to get into some classified things. So no, there's definitely something in play that we don't know about yet. What it is, who knows? But the media aren't interested in finding anything out. What the media are interested in is trashing Trump, slandering Trump, trying to cause division in the cabinet, trying to get rid of a cabinet official. I mean, look, Pete Hegseth, he's discharging all the transgendered military personnel. He's renaming all of the military bases back to their previous names that the left changed them from to some generic thing, Camp Freedom or whatever. He's, that stuff's they're rooting out, so much fraud in military spending. This guy here is swerving all over the place. I got to get by this person. I don't know if they're texting or drunk, but they are all over the road. But there is most definitely, there's nothing wrong with the Trump team. Nothing wrong. I'd like to know why this left-wing reporter is on the list of people to add to these chats and these signal groups. I'd very much like to know that, wouldn't you? So you in the chat, I'll look at the next light. Tell me in the chat what you think happened. Was this just a screw up by the cabinet? Is this a deep state operation to try to cause problems inside the Trump administration? Is this an Iranian intelligence op that could be working in cooperation with our own deep state? Or is the Trump administration running their own counterintelligence op to root out security leaks, leakers, and spies within? Those are the possibilities that I see. I don't see any other possibilities. The least likely is incompetence with the Trump cabinet. That's the least likely. You can see I'm on a very dark, lonely highway. Long drive. Now, gas in Florida is dropping. It's dropped under $3 throughout the state. It's continuing the drop. I'm going to fill up my cars today. Gas is dropping like a rock. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and you'll enjoy this channel, I promise you. I'm heading to the radio station today. I have to go to the radio station today and one more day this week. This time next week, I'll be out on the ocean on our MAGA cruise somewhere. This year, we've been taking our cruises for 10 years now. It's crazy, 10 years. Insane, I know. Very exciting. Those of you that are going, we're going to have a good time. I wish it wasn't sold out. But the media, you know, they're going to obsess over this because they, you know, they hate the entire Trump cabinet. Pete Hegseth right there, up there at the top. They want to cause as much dissent and disruption and chaos as possible. So this is going to be the media creating a major scandal out of this, or at least attempting to. There's also another possibility that the Trump team did all this on purpose to leak information out. Oh, the automatic litter? No, that's no, those things don't work too well, especially if you have 3 cats, multiple litter boxes. This is just a new thing. One of our cats just has stopped burying their urine. I've never, I don't know why they're doing that. But it's not good. Because it smells, and I got a big allergy to that. Yeah, it's a long drive to the radio station. This is what I say, this long drive is exhausting. So by the time I get on the air, I've been on the road an hour, maybe longer. Then I got to go and set up. It just takes too much energy out of me before I go on the air. Plus, it eats into my prep time. That's the other problem. I watched Megyn Kelly interviewed Ben Shapiro. I saw this yesterday. I don't know if the interview was yesterday, but I saw this yesterday. And Megyn Kelly asked Ben Shapiro about Jeremy Boring no longer being the CEO of the Daily Wire, and he gave this BS explanation. Well, he wanted to head this Pendragon thing up. What a bunch of crap that is. What a bunch of crap that is. They dumped Jeremy Boring because they took some big hits. You know, losing Candace Owens was a big hit to them. And then the Brett Cooper disaster, you know, everybody misjudged the popularity of Brett Cooper. I don't even think Brett Cooper realized how popular she was. I had no idea. And not only was she incredibly popular, and still is, Brett Cooper, they replaced her with her producer, Reagan, and did this big F-U to Brett Cooper by trying to imitate her. It was so bizarre. It was such a disaster. And, you know, first big punch was Candace Owens, and then the knockout punch was Brett Cooper. And I promise you, their views are down massively. Their subscriptions are down a lot. And they dumped him. They fired him. It's obvious. And I don't expect Ben Shapiro to say all that, but don't lie. I mean, why do interviews during a event like this and not and then lie? I don't appreciate that at all. Because it's so obvious what happened. I mean, come on. But I've never been a fan of Ben Shapiro. I mean, that's just, you know. Candace Owens never should have gone there. She was doing much better before she went there. But I'm sure they offered her and paid her a lot of money. Probably paid her millions of dollars. So, you know, what is she supposed to do? Turn down millions of dollars? And she's in a good spot right now. Not that I agree with what she's doing with her anti-Semitism, but, you know. not even halfway. I'm like halfway to halfway there. Pain in the butt, this drive. Ben will be fine. Well, no, Ben will always be around. All of us will always be around, but the Daily Wire is in big trouble. I don't care what they say. They are in big trouble. First of all, they have this subscription model, and let me ask you, yes or no? Do any of you subscribe to the Daily Wire? I mean, why would you do that? What are they offering that you would subscribe to? I don't get it. Do you subscribe to the Daily Wire, yes or no? I don't know anyone who does. Ben Shapiro and I live in the same neighborhood. A lot of people don't know that. People are always seeing him around. I'm always getting these reports. I saw him here, I saw him there. But the Daily Wire is in trouble. The Daily Wire is going through, in many ways, what the Blaze went through. You know, Glenn Beck started the Blaze, and the Blaze is not what it used to be. It was, when Glenn Beck started the Blaze, it was exciting. The website was exciting. I went there all the time. They had a lot of great content, and it got too big, and he got overwhelmed, and he had to get bailed out. That's why he's the, what do they call him? The founder emeritus or something, you know? And there's a similar thing going on with the Daily Wire. I think it's very safe to assume that. But me personally, I just don't like the personalities that they have there. To me, they're just not likable. Ben Shapiro is very unlikable. Very unlikable. Michael Knowles is just a weirdo. And the other two guys, I don't know, I don't have too strong, I always forget their names. The old man and the movie guy, they seem all right, but, you know. I mean, Ben Shapiro's a name, so he'll always be around. I mean, look at Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin, they had that scandal last year with, what was her name? Lauren, I forgot her last name now. That Russian scandal. Was it Russian or Chinese? What was this scandal? And Dave Rubin's still around, but he's not in the position he was in. Lauren Chen. Was it Chen? Is that her name? Should look into that. I don't know what the latest is on that. Has it disappeared with the new Justice Department or not? I don't know. You have to be so careful when there are people approaching you. I mean, they paid him. It was just bad news for him. Dave Rubin, he has not recovered from it. No, Candace's husband has just destroyed her. I don't know, anyone from the UK here? I was watching a great documentary last night before bed on Queen Mary, Bloody Mary, who was Henry VIII's eldest daughter, who was the Catholic queen right before Elizabeth. And it was a documentary done by a great British historian, a lady historian, Worsley. She's probably the best living historian, and she's English. And Bloody Mary has the worst reputation. And I told my wife, we were watching this before it started, I said, history is written by the victors, and Bloody Mary lost. So and she was Catholic, so the whole story about her was written by, Protestant victors against her. And Worsley went through Bloody Mary and her history, and in the beginning she was doing great. She wasn't forcing people to convert to Catholicism. She got the economy on track. She was doing a great job as queen in the beginning, and then she got married, and her husband was a poison person, and she married her husband, and that's when the execution started of the heretics and all of that, and that was the end of her. And that's a lot how I would compare what's happened to Candace Owens. Candace Owens was doing amazing things, and then she married this guy who I believe has just destroyed her reputation. She was doing such great work, and I'm not taking, obviously she's very successful, she's very famous, a lot of people watch her, and I'm sure she makes a lot of money, but she was a much better person before she married this husband, like Bloody Mary. Spouses can destroy someone. And, it's an interesting thing with Candace, because I've known over my life business owners whose wives get involved in their business. Their wives don't know jack about the business and push the husbands to do this, that, and the other thing. And cause all kinds of problems for their businesses. I've seen that so many times over the years. And Candace Owens' husband has just warped her thinking on things. When she first got married, I talked about it on my podcast. I said, this is going to be the end of her. And a lot of people gave me a hard time about that. I said, this is gonna change. I didn't realize it was going to change it like this, but I said this was going to be the beginning of the end for Candace Owens getting married. And then I also predicted going to the Daily Wire would be a disaster when that deal first was announced. And I was right on both counts. Now, when I'm on the cruise next week, I will be in touch with you guys. I will be live streaming. So make sure you're subscribed, got the notification bell clicked. But that's the current state of things, no doubt about it. But what I'm going to lead with today, I'm almost to the coffee shop. So what I'm going to lead with today, though, is this Pete Hegseth story. I already have the stream set up, and the chat room's active there. So when I end this stream, you can hop over there and join that chat right now. It is 5:04 a.m. here, Mar-a-Lago time. I am due west of Mar-a-Lago. And also, we don't have a lot of details on this, but on X, they reported on X that there was another assassination attempt over the weekend on President Trump at the golf course. I shared the post on X. Brian Craig Show on X. Follow me there. Brian Craig Show on X. Yeah, another assassination attempt. I was shocked to see it on the president at the golf course this weekend, it said. And he, you know, if you noticed, he went back to Washington early this weekend, and that very well may be why. So, these never-Trumpers will never stop. I mean, so there's an assassination attempt on Sunday, which obviously, thankfully, failed. And then a couple days later, this security breach story, come on. And they found devices at a Tesla dealership. I mean, this administration is under attack. And it's amazing to me. The media is more concerned about this guy from the Atlantic than the assassination attempt on Sunday. I just found out about this morning. I'll take a quick look at the chat before I sign off, guys. I'm just pulling into the coffee shop. I gotta order my coffee. Yeah, well, listen, guys, I will be covering this fake text breach news story when on the next stream in an hour. So if you're new, subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you in just about an hour.